All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and the Washington Commanders have made some changes immediately after that embarrassing loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night. Apparently, we cut kicker Cade York, and we already brought in a replacement in Austin Seibert. We're going to break down his history and stats. Does he actually have a chance to be a good kicker? Is he potentially the solution, or is this just another guy in a long line of kickers that we're going to throw out there throughout this season? Just to let you know, this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and before we dive into everything in this video, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned, follow the content. Again, I'm keeping y'all updated on everything the Commanders do, daily videos, live streams every week, and just be on the lookout because I still want to do a review call-in show live stream for what happened against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so y'all can call in and basically pour your house out, get everything off your chest about what you saw in that game last night. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're gonna keep it moving. I'm super excited about this season, even after a week 1 loss like that. I'm just happy to have football back, man. I cherish football when we have it right now compared to when we're in those earlier months in the year, and I'm just wishing we had any football to watch. So I'm excited. I'm still have hope for this season, but let's go ahead and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so the Washington Commanders have officially released kicker Cade York after just 1 preseason game and 1 regular season game. And we do not have to send the Cleveland Browns that conditional 7th round pick that we technically traded away to get him. That pick was only going to be sent to the Browns if he kicked in 2 games. By releasing York today, Washington avoids having to give anything up for him, and that basically made today's decision easier because he only kicked in 1 game. If we threw him out there against the Giants, then we would for sure have to give up that 7th round pick, and I'm pretty sure he was aware of that coming in. Like, hey man, you have a 1-game trial, because if we let you kick in 2 games, we can't keep that 7th round pick. So I'm pretty sure even he knew, hey, I better go out there and do the best I can against the Buccaneers, because after this 1 game, I'm gonna be up out of here if I don't make my kicks. And then he proceeded to not make our kicks. But I'm happy, man. We get to keep our 7th round pick, and I know it's just a 7th round pick. It's not like it's a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or whatever, but it's still nice to be able to keep it. I mean, just imagine trading a 7th round pick for a kicker, just period, and then ending up cutting them anyway and not being able to keep your 7th round pick. That's crazy. Imagine just throwing away a 7th round pick for free. We've gotten good players with those picks, man. Remember, Cameron Curl was a 7th round pick. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, who showed flashes last night, even though he couldn't bring down Baker Mayfield, he had him right in his grasp for a sack. That's a 7th round pick. 7th round picks matter, man, even just by the fact that we have undrafted free agents that made the final 53-man roster. Tyler Owens and Colson Yonkov were undrafted free agents. We brought them in as free agents after the draft. They could have been 7th round pick. So yeah, it does suck that we still don't have a good kicker, but at least we didn't lose a 7th round pick for absolutely nothing. Because at this point, after the performance we had against the Buccaneers, best case scenario was we recovered that 7th round pick. And speaking of draft picks, now, so far, going into that 2025 draft, which will happen April of next year, we have 1 1st round pick, 1 2nd round pick, 2 3rd round picks, 1 4th, no 5th, but 2 6s and 2 7s after the John Ridgeway trade, the Jahan Dotson trade. And again, we did not have to give up any draft picks for Cade York, who we just cut. But basically, looking at that draft pick situation with how many picks that we already have, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily punting on this season, but they are clearly prioritizing building towards the future, which I'm not mad at all, man. Now, granted, I'm taking it 1 week at a time, and I'm not assuming that it's just the end of the world and the sky's falling after that 1 loss, but we should probably hold back expectations for the 2024 regular season, especially with as many weaknesses as it looks like we have on this roster. And it's impossible to complete an entire rebuild in just 1 offseason, so there was no real expectation expectations for us to come out there and be great, let alone, you know, first of all, the entire season, let alone the first game of the entire rebuild. Like I was saying in the live stream before the game even started, this is not only just week 1 of the 2024 season, this is week 1 of a new era. This is a week 1 of an entirely different regime, a rebuild, the Adam Peters, the Dan Quinn, all of that type of stuff. This is week 1 of what's potentially going to be years down the line, hopefully long term for us. So again, I wasn't expecting us to come out and just be firing all cylinders immediately, but I'm still a little surprised with just how bad they were against the Buccaneers and how bad they looked last night. It was a little bit worse than what I expected, I'm not gonna lie. So my main point is, these guys already knew before last night's game even happened that we're on the long game situation. They're looking towards the future, and they are more than happy to add as many draft picks as possible moving forward. So don't be surprised that we're sellers when that trade deadline's coming up. We're more likely to be sellers than buyers, even if we are having a good season. If we end up surprising people and winning some games we're not supposed to, because the Giants, bad team, you better win that game. I'm not necessarily even saying we should, because for some reason we always find a way to lose to them even when they're not good. But you better win that Giants game. The Bengals game, they did not look good last week. They shouldn't have lost that game, and they just looked like a bad team. The Cardinals gave up an easy come from behind win to their opponent. The Browns don't look good. I mean, these are all winnable games. And then you play the Ravens, which, I mean, whoo, pray for that defensive line. They couldn't bring down Baker Mayfield. Whoo, imagine Lamar Jackson. But after that, the Panthers, terrible team, arguably the worst team in the NFL. Then you have the Bears. Caleb Williams hasn't looked good yet. I mean, we can nitpick Jaden Daniels all we want, but he looked the best out of all of the rookie quarterbacks. Bo Nix was terrible. Caleb Williams was not good. Jaden Daniels was at least better than both of those guys. More efficient, everything. And so the Bears have a great team around Caleb Williams, but if he's still looking like how we looked week 1, maybe we have a chance in that game October 27th. Then we play the Giants again. That's winnable. And then we go on like a slightly ugly slate with like the Steelers and the Eagles and the Cowboys. That's not pretty. But the Titans, that's a beatable team. Bye week. Saints, we'll see how good they actually are. Then the Eagles again, that's a worry. I think the Falcons are better than what they looked in week 1. We'll see, even though Kirk Cousins is a seller, so I'm not surprised. And then it's the Cowboys. But my main point is, man, we may be able to actually surprise some people, and by the time we actually get to this trade deadline, we may have more wins than even a lot of us in the fan base expect. So really, I should have stopped looking at that schedule beyond the trade deadline. That was my main point. But we'll see. I'm really excited to see what this team holds for the future. Hopefully we can be better sooner rather than later. But I'm very confident in the fact that we will be a great team at least sometime in the near future. Whether it's next year, 2 years down the line, I'm confident that we'll be great. The only question for me is how soon that will happen. We have a lot of issues to address, most notably kicker, which takes me back to the kicker situation. And what's crazy is that we cut Cade York before even a full 24 hours after the game. But I'm not gonna lie, after that performance yesterday, man, I wouldn't have been surprised if he was released last night immediately after that game. They could have just left him in Tampa Bay after that performance. Speaking of that performance, let's really break it down. First of all, that man missed a 47-yarder, and of course, that's not the easiest kick to make, but there's no excuses. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers kicker made like a 56-yarder right before he missed that 47. So there's zero excuses there, and especially anything within 50 yards, you're supposed to make those. And then he barely even made the PAT after Jaden Daniels' first touchdown run. And then he had the nerve to kick the ball out of bounds for a penalty on a kickoff. How do you even do that with the new kickoff rules, man? You kick it from the opponent's 40-yard line. You're right there. I mean, that was arguably the worst play from anybody in that game last night. I know we had a lot of bad plays from the offense, the defense, special teams all over the place, and even Cade York himself. If we're talking about the worst plays from yesterday, Cade York is up there competing against himself with a couple of those top tier plays that were just low lights for the team. But I would argue him kicking it out of bounds on that kickoff was the worst play of the entire game. Is Cade York the only kicker so far in the regular season? I know it's only been 1 week, but is he the only kicker to kick it out of bounds and get a penalty with the new kickoff rules? I'm pretty sure he is. That's ridiculous. And then I don't even know why we asked him to attempt a 56-yarder, 55-yarder, whatever that was. I mean, we might as well have just went for it on that 4th down, man. I'm not going to lie. I know it was like 4th and 8 or something. It wasn't like very manageable, like an easy 4th down to convert. But still, I feel like there was almost zero chance that he was making the field goal. At least going for it on 4th down, maybe Jaden Daniels makes a play. You know what I'm saying? Then he did an ugly onside kick attempt later on in the game. So it was like when I was watching after that onside kick, I'm sitting there looking like, what are you even good at? You know what I'm saying? You can't make field goals. You're barely making PATs. You can't kick the easiest kickoffs in NFL history, and you can't do a proper onside kick. Why are you here, man? And so it's super crazy too, because just thinking back in my Patriots preseason game review and analysis video after that preseason game against the Patriots to end the preseason, I brought up the fact that he did win the week 1 job, but I was cautiously optimistic because he only made 2 kicks in the 30 yardage range. Both of the kicks that he attempted and made in that final preseason game were from less than 40 yards. So I was cautiously optimistic about this kicking situation because we hadn't necessarily seen him kick a field goal worth anything yet. So I brought it up in that video. I was like, okay, I mean, hopefully he seems like the guy. He made both of his 30-something yarders, but that didn't necessarily prove anything to me yet. And now look where we are. But granted, I'm not going to sit here and act like I knew he was going to be terrible. I didn't think it would be this bad. Now moving on. Now speaking of that game last night, after Cade York looked that bad, I was starting to worry about like where our original kicker was, Brandon McManus, who was accused of sexual assault and all of that. Like, what's going on with him, man? And his situation is crazy. It's a really weird. It's in a really weird place right now because just on September 4th, just 5 days ago, the judge dismissed all of the sexual assault lawsuit stuff that was going against Brandon McManus. But then Friday, September 6th, the sexual assault lawsuit against Jaguars kicker Brandon McManus was refiled after dismissal. So the judge threw it away and now it's being refiled. They're trying again, basically. And I mean, even with that, I don't exactly know what's going over there right now, but I don't think Adam Peters and company will even take that risk at this point, especially after they just recently fired that VP of content over all of that drama. So I'm pretty sure that they're doing everything in their power to avoid any unnecessary attention for this team right now. And then today, shortly after cutting Cade York, the Commanders went ahead and signed a kicker, but is he the right guy? But before we get to that, this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS, plain and simple. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast. I know I do. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with the code YouTube150. That is YOUTUBE 150. Make sure you go and get that. They have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process. I'm sitting here like, why not? But let's take a look at some bets that you can get into with BetUS, man, because they got some good stuff going on over there, man. Well, last week we had plus 250 odds as far as making the playoffs. So if you put $100 down, you could have gotten $250 back if we ended up making the playoffs. After the way that we just lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as you can see on your screen right now, our odds have changed to plus 425. So if you put down $100, you can get $425 right now. So if you want to make that bet, and if you still feel like the Commanders can find a way to end up making the playoffs, whether we win a division or if we sneak into the wild card, you can put down just $100 and end up getting $425 back. Or, you know, if you want to just a little something, you don't want to throw out too much. If you just put down $10, just a quick little $10, you can get $42.56 back in returns for winning that bet if we do end up making the playoffs. So, hey man, that's a bet I may go ahead and jump on again because I like those odds. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't say it was assumed we were going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I don't think many people expected us to beat them. And I feel like we have just as much of a chance of making the playoffs today as we did last week. And so I'm a little surprised that the odds changed that drastically. That's a good bet to make right there, man. And again, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUB150. That's YouTube150. Make sure you go check them out. I'm telling y'all, man, they're my people. You're my people. I just feel like y'all should rock with each other, man. Let's get back to the video. All right, so now let's talk about the kicker that we actually ended up signing. So apparently the Washington Commanders signed veteran kicker Austin Seibert, a quick pivot after Sunday's struggles of Cade York, who was released earlier today. And that was tweeted by Tom Pelissero, so this was at least big enough news for a guy like that to tweet about it. And just to let you know, he was too drafted by the Browns, but this guy was drafted in the 5th round of 2019. So this is another kicker that the Browns didn't care to keep on their roster. Let's see if the second one ends up actually being good this time around. The first Browns kicker that they just didn't care about and let go didn't work out. Let's see if the second one does. Also, shouts out to Resh Manuel. He brings up an interesting fact. The Commanders kicker, Austin Seibert, who we just signed, played for the Browns with assistant special teams coach Doug Coleman. Prior to that, Coleman was an assistant with the Texans under now Commanders special teams coach Larry Izzo. So you see the connections, you see the web going around right now. That's probably why he was even on our radar through those connections right there. Also, shouts out to Resh Manuel for pointing this out. Now we have an all Oklahoma special teams trio for the Washington Commanders. Kicker Austin Seibert, that we just signed. Punter Tress Way went to Oklahoma as well. And then long snapper Tyler Ott played high school football in Oklahoma, even though he didn't actually go to Oklahoma. But that's really interesting and random. That's pretty cool. Shouts out to Resh Manuel for noticing that. Also, shouts out to Chick Hernandez for pointing out the fact that the Commanders saw this guy kick in the rain during that camp, that joint practice with the Jets. So just keep that in mind. Maybe he showed us something there, but at the same time, it's kind of like, if he really showed you something there, why did you decide to keep Riley Patterson or trade for Cade York rather than just signing that guy off rip? So maybe they didn't like what they saw enough. We'll see though. But shouts out to Craig Hoffman for pointing this out. He's a 27-year-old who hasn't kicked a full season since his rookie year of 2019. That's a long time ago, y'all. That's before COVID, man. And also, based on a quick look at his numbers, he doesn't have a very big leg. Low TB percentage, fine with no rules. Well, as far as touchbacks go, that's pretty cool. I mean, again, we moved up. Even though that didn't help Cade York at all, he still found a way to kick it out of bounds. But we did move up to where the kicker doesn't have to kick it as far. So I'm not worried about a kicker not having a huge leg as much as I used to. But he also went 2 for 6 from 50 plus so far. I don't like those stats. And he went 17 of 24 from 40 plus. That's not that great either. But he's perfect from inside the 40 on 26 kicks. So we'll see. This is a guy that's Mr. in 40 and under. But everything else, crapshoot. Wild card, man. Career stats in total, 45 of 56 with a 80.4% kicking percentage. He's 20 of 20 from 30 to 39, perfect. But again, he's 17 of 24 from 40 to 49 and 2 of 6 from 50 plus. And his longest field goal is a 53-yarder. And then extra point-wise, he's 56 of 62%, which is 90%. That isn't terrible, but they are all extra points. So you kind of expect them to make all of them. And then also, if you really want to just look at it from this angle, shouts out to Mason Kinahan for pointing out the fact that he hasn't kicked a full season again since his 2019 rookie season. But since 2021, he's played in 10 games and he's gone 14 of 18 from the field and 1 of 3 from 50 plus yards on field goals. So to kind of like narrow it down to what he's done for you most recently, what have you done for me lately? He's 14 of 18 since 2021 and 1 of 3 on 50 plus yarders. And he's perfect from extra point, 18 of 18. So extra point wise, since 2021, he hasn't missed a single one. But again, he hasn't had a full kicking season since 2019, and there must be a reason that he's been bouncing around the league and was even available as a free agent. But also, shouts out to Chris Cooley for this one, for breaking it down like this. In the past 2 regular seasons, he's still perfect from extra points, 13 of 13. He's 4 of 6 on field goals. And in the preseason this year, he went 5 of 5 on field goals and 1 of 1 on extra points. So if we're super talking about what have you done for me most recently, he seems like he's actually pretty decent. We'll see though. Like just looking at his overall career stats is not that great, but when you start to narrow it down to what he's done most recently, it looks a little better. It sounds a little better. So maybe this is a guy that's been improving over time. We'll see. But again, he hasn't started since 2019. He hasn't had a full kicking season like a franchise kicker since his rookie year, where the Browns gave him a shot and apparently it just didn't really work out for him. But we'll see. Maybe he's actually good. At this point, I'm not gonna guess or assume anything. I just need to see him make some kicks and then I'll start to believe in him. But as of right now, I'm chilling, man. I'm so numb to it at this point, man. It is what it is. And shouts out to @BurgundyBlog, because I agree. He said not gonna bother learning anything about the new kicker because none of them last, man. I'm not mad at that. I wouldn't necessarily say I agree. My photo said that, but I'm not mad at that. Now, of course, me being Rico of Street Scores, we got to do our deep research on everything revolving around the Commanders. But I understand as a fan, you're just like, man, there's no point in me even diving into who this guy is because he probably won't even be here by next week. Hopefully he is. We'll see. Also, just to let you know, as far as since January of 2024, this year, just a few months ago, we have now had Joey Sly, Brandon McManus, Ramiz Ahmed, Riley Patterson, Cade York, and now Austin Seibert all on our roster as kickers. So that is 6 kickers since January, dog. And who knows if this is even it. But hey, man, better to go through 6 kickers than to go through 6 quarterbacks. So hey, man, I guess we gotta look at it glass half full any way that we can. This is still a terrible situation. I'm trying to not trying to make light of it, but hey, man, I prefer to go through 6 kickers since January than 6 quarterbacks. But I mean, this is still insane. This is a terrible situation to be in. I wonder if any other team is dealing with what we're dealing with right now for kickers, man. Are we the only ones? I don't know. It doesn't feel good though. I do know that. Also, Dan Quinn spoke to the media today. He talked about a lot of different things. Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, the receivers, the corners, all of that type of stuff. I may do a video breakdown on that later, maybe tomorrow, something like that. But when talking about the kicker situation after releasing Cade York, Dan Quinn said that Adam Peters and his staff are still searching for the answer at kicker. There will be more answers at the position on Wednesday. It's not ideal, he said, but they are going to keep attacking until they find an answer, which I appreciate. I like that mentality, but so far it hasn't necessarily led to real results yet. We'll see. I mean, really, at the end of the day, man, just make the kicks, dog. Like, y'all are getting paid crazy money to attempt these kicks. Please just do your job, man. You know how many people out there wish they were making the type of money you are just to go out there and kick the ball out of bounds with new kickoff rules, man? Get it together, man. So Cade York, one Browns kicker didn't work out. Hopefully the next one does. We'll see, man. I really have no idea. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content, man. I'm going to keep y'all updated on every little thing the Commanders have going on. I may even do like a Pro Football Focus breakdown of the grades and things like that from what happened to the game last night. I may do like a breakdown of what Dan Quinn had to say after the game last night and what he had to say today before practice as well, just to kind of get an overview of how the coaching staff felt about that week 1 debut we had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So be on the lookout for all sorts of videos that I have. Again, daily videos. Even some days I'm gonna come out with more than one video. I want to start to get to some of these film sessions now that I have access to the NFL All 22 stuff. I'm not sure if they already have the All 22 ready from this game yet, but when they do, I will be looking at it. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. I'm really excited to be bringing this content to y'all. Again, like I already said, I will be live streaming every regular season game, so stay tuned for that as well. And please make sure you do not leave this video without leaving a like. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points, man. I really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned. And also remember that this video was sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And if you don't do anything else, please make sure you gamble responsibly, man. Please do that. Again, I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.